And welcome back to Sonoma, California, Infineon Raceway. Patrick Long has led every lap. Just behind him, David Gilliland has been trying to close that gap, but we have not seen a mistake out of Patrick Long, and that has not been giving anyone else an opportunity to close that gap.
Yeah, but Joey Logano now is closed up to the back bumper of David Gilliland, so we have a good battle looming for the second spot.
Seeing a car slow on the racetrack, just as these two work their way through the turn, and Patrick Long holding on to that top spot. David Gilliland, Joey Logano running 2 and 3, the red and orange cars just behind the number 9.
Joey Logano getting a lot of track time out here. Obviously had not been out here before. Has run a few road course races in the Camping World East Series, but has not run this racetrack. So I think it's a great idea for Bill Gibbs Racing to put him out here in this West Division race to get him a little track time.
Precursor to the Sprint Cup race, and right on the back bumper now of David Gilliland. How difficult is it to learn a racetrack this quickly?
Well, it really is, and unfortunately for Joey, though, he's had double the practice. He got practice for this race, and he also got practice for the Sprint Cup race. So he got double the practice time, and that's what it's all about. But he's a very, very talented young driver, so he obviously catches on extremely quickly.
Quick learner Phil Dugan got off the racetrack in that number 34, but he's back going once again, and no caution comes out. We continue to race as he works around the 81 of Garland Self. Oh, also seeing a car, Travis Bennett, and that 09 stops on the racetrack.
That will bring out a caution flag if he cannot get that car going.
So problems for the 09 of Travis Bennett. No problems up to this point for Patrick Long. Again, Travis Bennett brought out the caution, and so while we were away, pit stops were made by a few drivers, one of those being the driver that was battling for that third spot, Joey Logano.
Yeah, Joey's made his early pit stop. He feels like he got in his pit window now. He should be good to go for the rest of this race. It opened up that third spot for Jason Bowles right now on the back bumper of David Gilliland.
So David Gilliland still running second. Jason Bowles is third. Fourth is Eric Holmes.
Obviously, these guys have not yet made their pit stop. I was talking to Jason Bowles before the race, and he said these Goodyear Bias-Ply tires are so good. He said, I think all we're going to do is fuel only. We're not even going to put tires on, though, even though we're allowed to.
Drivers hard on brakes, sometimes hard on tires if they come into the turns just a little bit too aggressive. But I guess if you're planning on not changing tires, you want to be a little more sensitive to that.
Yeah, and these guys are setting a pretty tough pace right now. They're running pretty hard. Obviously, Patrick Long has led this entire race, and he's really not got a wheel off course. He's really doing a nice job, but they're running pretty hard out there.
Stays smooth. We see David Gilliland. The gap about the same. Oh, now we're seeing Gilliland making his way onto pit road, as does Jason Bowles.
And Eric Holmes. All three of these guys coming down pit road. Now, this is their scheduled pit stop. Remember, they're only going to stop one time, more than likely for fuel.
So 3 cars making their way onto pit road, and Jason Bowles will be the first one to get into his pit area. So let's head back down to Bob Dillner, who will help us out with all the changes, or maybe not even changes made, but fuel added. Bob Dillner.
Lap 19 is the time that Jason Bowles pitted last year and won this race. He picks the same lap to do it again. No changes to this race car. He says it's very good. He's got a little body damage on the left side of that race car. They are trying to get all the fuel that they can in it, but Jason Bowles is off and away.
Still out on the racetrack in the 09, Patrick Long continues to lead. A little bigger gap now between him and second. It's David Mayhew in the 17 now running second, because second, third, and fourth all came off the racetrack to make their pit stop.
And now these guys are a little bit vulnerable. If the caution flag were to come out right now, obviously pit road would be closed till a pace truck or car would pick up the field, and Patrick Long said, I'm not going to take any more chances. I'm coming to pit road right now.
So Patrick Long also doing what everyone else has done up to this point. Decided to come inside his pit window. He led every lap that we had run up to the 19th lap. Now David Mayhew will be your race leader. So let's head back down to pit road, and Bob Dillner to help us with race leader Patrick Long's stop. Bob?
Patrick Long on pit road for what will be most likely his only pit stop of the day, but problems for Patrick Long. The official says he was pitting out of his pit stop box, so they had to back him up a little bit. Luckily for them, they were only putting fuel in the car and were able to keep that nozzle getting filled into the car. The second can going in right now. They are trying to make sure this is full. Pat Long off and away.
You know, Rick, I think that might have been a situation where they felt like they were only going to need one can, because it looks like they were not ready for that second can. That was an extremely long pit stop right there. As a matter of fact, Greg Pursley beat him out. And Mike David, who was way, way behind him when he came in, is not that far behind him to leaving the pit road. Dave Mehu right behind him.
So Patrick Long, who had led the first 19 laps of this race, comes in, has a little bit longer pit stop than he was expecting to have. But fuel only, that's the theme that we're seeing now out of pretty much every car on the racetrack. It comes onto pit road, do fuel only. Again, 64 laps, 125 miles is the distance of this race.
We caught a glimpse of Jason Bowles, his teammate, Patrick Long's teammate, up ahead of him, as well as the 20 of Eric Holmes. There's Moses Smith, the 16, coming to pit road.
So Moses Smith is going to make his scheduled pit stop. Again, they back it up from the 64th lap until they think they can make it in their pit window. And we've seen quite a few different drivers on different strategies here.
Yeah, these guys right now that are left on the racetrack that have not pitted yet definitely want to get to pit road before the caution flag comes out. They don't want to be caught. They will lose so much track position if they have to make their pit stop under caution.
And we see Greg Pursley just in front of that 9 of Patrick Long. Again, Patrick Long had been leading every lap of this race. As the different drivers have come onto pit road, that has given the lead to Johnny Borneman. He has now taken over the top spot as he's stayed on the racetrack. He has yet to make his pit stop.
Yeah, Johnny's a 3-time winner in the series, running sporadically this season, but doing a nice job out here today. But he's going to have to get to pit road before the caution comes out.
Johnny Borneman gambling. You see that left front tire almost come completely off the ground as he makes that left-hand turn.
Yeah, the right front will come off on that kind of on a right-hand turn.
A difficult racetrack to set a race car up for these drivers. Johnny Borneman's best finish this season, 5th.
Johnny's running a handful of the nationwide races, most of the races on the West Coast. Attempted to race Daytona, didn't quite make it, but running the races on the West Coast at Phoenix and California, Las Vegas.
Finished 22 of the 64 laps, just over a third of the way through this racetrack, or this race. Johnny Borneman out in front, still has not come to pit road. A little bit of a gamble for this team.
Yeah, he maybe not getting as good a fuel mileage as some of the other guys. Remember, all these guys are running very similar engines. They're the spec engine that NASCAR instituted 2 or 3 years ago. As you can see, Johnny, 3-time winner here in the West Series.
Johnny Borneman off the rumble strips, the curbs here. Swinging wide. Get through this right-hander.
That was turn 7A. That starts the S's here. A lot of time can be made up and lost in the S's.
Guys cutting the distance around this racetrack by cutting over those curbs. And 40 race cars starting this race. Johnny Borneman started today in the 16th spot. But again, because he has stayed on the racetrack when virtually everyone else has been to pit road, he is your race leader as he works his way through 11 and back out to 12 and across the start-finish line.
Stayed on the racetrack again. That orange car bottom left of your screen, that is Joey Logano. Remember, Joey is one of the first lead lap cars to make a pit stop. And obviously, Johnny Borneman has not made his pit stop yet, and Joey Logano is probably not 4 or 5 seconds behind him.
So Johnny Borneman is going to most certainly lose the lead when he does finally make his way onto pit road for the fuel stop that he will definitely need. But this gamble that they're playing, they think it's going to work.
Well, the only thing's going to hurt him if the caution flag comes out. You can see the car jump the rumble strip there. That's why there's pavement out there. If there's pavement, these guys will use it.
They're using every inch of the pavement on this racetrack. And Johnny Borneman again coming through the S's.
I'm going to tell you, that is a blast right there. Especially for a guy that typically runs ovals, left-hand turns. it's a nice change of pace to come out here and run a road course like here at Infineon Raceway or Watkins Glen or wherever you may run. It's a nice change of pace. But for people like Patrick Long, or as said, this is right in their wheelhouse.
Well, and a lot of these drivers started maybe their race careers in go-karts. And in go-karts, you do run a little bit more of a road course feel. But when you move up to a stock car, I mean, these cars are 3,400 pounds and quite a bit different than a go-kart.
Yeah, they really are. And I think a lot of the guys in this series, as well as the series back east, you know, come from a Sports Car Club of America background or some sort of road race. Ooh, trouble on the racetrack.
Trouble on the racetrack on lap 24. Our second caution has come out.
It's a 0-8 of Brad Lloyd, I believe.
Brad gets into the tires, into the safety area, off the racetrack, and that brings out our second caution. Johnny Borneman, your race leader. Joey Logano running second. Forrest Said back there in third.